Greetings, everyone. My name is Jay Bland, and I am a principal within Atlanta Public Schools, and I had the opportunity of being a part of the very first P3 Leaders Fellowship through GEEARS, the Georgia Early Education Alliance for Ready Students. And one of the greatest gains that I took away from this P3 Leaders Fellowship for me was really understanding the importance of having an aligned educational system. Really from those 3 months to third grade. As an elementary school principal myself, and my focus really being kindergarten to fifth grade, and I taught middle school for 10 years as well. I often overlooked the importance of what it meant to have a solid early educational experience, whether it's through a state-funded pre-K program or a daycare, or anywhere that children can go before kindergarten. And I didn't know a lot about these types of programs, the accreditation that it took, but really understanding that having the alignment between students that are coming to you at the end of pre-K and into kindergarten and up through those age ranges is super important. We studied the key differences across all these age ranges as well. And one of the things that really opened my eyes was really looking at the difference between instructional time, lunchtime, transition times, between just 1 year of difference in the pre-K program to a kindergarten program. We also learned a whole lot about state-funded pre-Ks, what the accreditation process was like and how difficult that could be, the challenges of accreditation. We learned about early childhood development and the challenges and struggles that even some of our private schools face. The fellowship really showed me, and I knew a little bit about this, but really digging into some of the data and the studies that we looked at about the positive relationships and the importance of these positive relationships that students all the way down to 3 months old build with their adult caregivers, and the importance of these positive relationships. And that's really the most important thing that an early childhood can give to a student or a child is a caring adult that can interact in a positive manner with their students. Students need to have that uninterrupted play. They need to continue to get that positive reinforcement and words of encouragement. And again, just starting as early as those 3 months. The fellowship also really helped me see several of the inequities and struggles that many of our parents face in finding quality schooling and daycare for their children, especially ones that are accredited through the state. As somebody who didn't have that struggle with my children growing up, it is really interesting to learn, and something that I think it's important for educational leaders to understand, that while education should be free and accessible to all people, high quality education, even starting down at just preschools and daycares, can often be a super hard challenge for some of our families within the state of Georgia. So before the fellowship, I thought that preschools and traditional schools really worked as separate entities. You had your pre-K, your early daycare centers, then they moved into early learning, and then a child may matriculate into kindergarten. But I never really saw the importance of what that alignment would be. But now I really understand the importance of the alignment around not just instruction, but also educational resources, assessments that are given, teacher evaluation processes, parent involvement expectations. These are all things that when early learning centers and schools can work together and plan together and work through, that our students and our parents will be much better prepared for schooling. I also never really understood what it took to get accredited at the state level and what the accreditation scores mean. So it was really interesting as an elementary school principal to learn that process and to really see, the students that come to us from our preschools, what their struggles were, but also what their successes were and what their accreditations were like. And I was really unaware of the amount of unaccredited daycares within the state of Georgia, and many of which are often the only options for some of our low-income families. I think a stronger preschool to third grade system means that our students will be much more prepared for learning in the upper grades. They're going to be prepared for the world. They're going to be prepared for schooling. They're going to be ready to continue these specialized programs that may be introduced in pre-K programs or early daycares, or even in the elementary school levels. They're going to be able to continue, and schools can continue to work through similar budgeting processes They can continue to take and use the same type of assessments as students go through schools. If preschools and traditional elementary schools are working together, then they can coordinate on staffing and leadership styles across the schools. And really a strong P3 system can help lead to a more stable schooling environment, which can really ultimately lead to equity and change in our schools. I was really impressed by some of the P3 alignment that's already taking place within the city of Atlanta, especially through the Eastlake community, as well as the Chattahoochee YMCA Early Learning Center, and matriculating into the Scott Elementary School of Atlanta Public Schools alignment. So I think that a lot of our school leaders are really doing the work right now, but doing it intentionally. And then now also knowing that we have a resource like GEEARS and the support of GEEARS in the state of Georgia that we can really lean on. And one of the things that I took away as a chief takeaway was building those relationships with our cluster learning communities. And a cluster learning community is a group of schools that generally tend to follow the same track. So we were paired with early learning centers, whether it be private school or public schools or state-funded pre-Ks. And then we were able to visit those sites. We were able to meet their teachers. We were able to learn about their curriculums and their assessments. And it really was eye-opening to see that these are the students that are going to be coming to my school. And we never really had that opportunity before that. So be able to build those relationships with our cluster learning communities and our early learning sites was really important to me. And going forward, knowing that Atlanta Public Schools is governed by our GO teams, our schools, which is our governance teams, I would love to get one of our pre-K sites or early learning sites, one of their administrators on our GO team at my elementary school, so we can begin to really work and really lead into that learning process to find that P3 alignment. So we know that kids that are coming from those schools that come into my school will have that seamless transition moving into kindergarten. So I want to say thanks to all the GEEARS people and to Greg for the awesome fellowship. I wish we could have finished in person, but as educators and as leaders in our community, we need to be adaptable and ready for anything, don't we? All right, take care.